r/atheism. Waffle Smidgy says, Sam Harris being lumped in with Rogan and Tate. So I've recently heard Sam Harris' name being thrown around with the likes of Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate as one of the people that lonely incel/toxic dudes are ravenous for, but I've never heard Sam say anything about traditional values or masculinity or alpha male bullshit, or promoting conspiracy theories, or anything even remotely in the vein of Rogan/Tate. Does anyone know where this is coming from? What is the general opinion of Sam in this community? EdBear69 says, hearing Sam Harris mentioned in that context surprises me. I would expect Jordan Peterson to the Troyes in this nudge. And Talagic81 says, exactly. Peterson is such a grifting dingus. Waffle Smidgy says, same, I was pretty surprised to say the least. I've never heard Sam talk about conspiracy theories or masculinity in the way that Rogan/Tate/Peterson have, so this was confusing to me as well. Wizardwoodson9 says, that's uncalled for. Sam Harris has said some questionable things about how to deal with the problem of Islamic terrorism and how best to accommodate transgender people, but Rogan and Tate are in a different league altogether. Rogan is a conspiracy shilling imbecile and Trump supporter, and Tate is a grifter and sex trafficker running a cult for incels. I see some room valid disagreement with Sam Harris, but to equate him with the likes of Joe Rogan and Andrew Tate would be like equating Winston Churchill with Hitler and Stalin. Canada3 says, he has consistently been open to high-level, nuanced discussions on feminism, gender, race, religion, international relations, etc. The incel could easily glean a highly edited comment, completely without context, for their own purposes. Harris has been fairly public of his criticism of Islam, and is often characterized as a phobe, but his views are reflective of a very smart philosophical man who has gained my trust, attention, and respect. Waffle Smidgy says, agreed, which is why I'm so confused about suddenly hearing his name in with Rogan/Tate/etc. The Bill Brasky says, it's a disproportionate criticism of Islam over other religions. Not very data driven. Basically, if local monument or feature X were to blow up right now, what would you think the religious affiliation of the bomber is? He's a little too dismissive of the actual largest proportion of domestic terror attacks in the US, which stems from far-right white supremacy movements. Rooted in and advanced by Christianity. He isn't very welcome in leftist discourse for these reasons. He's also a little too dismissive of why Islamic parts of the world are perceived to be so hostile towards the West, that is. Colonial states like the US bomb them back to the Stone Age every few months in order to steal their resources. Kinslayer 817 says, I'm not a big fan of Harris's, but I wouldn't lump him in with those two in a million years. I may disagree with some of his takes and arguments, but I at least believe he's intelligent and intellectually honest. I think he cares about the truth and actually seeks it out, unlike Rogan and Tate who are just idiotic grifters. T3 Archangel G says, I think it has to do with the views of his and the other prominent atheists who left the FFRF on trans issues. It seems more and more to me that trans issues are the wedge the elites want us arguing over, rather than shooting their seats or being politically organized. r/atheism. Mertzers8888 says, I was on a flight and was scared because I was a Shia Muslim. I'm an atheist now. At age 32 this subreddit just took off the veil off me. I'm not kidding. I stumbled upon a post while scrolling, and I can't remember what the post was, and I clicked and then clicked more post, and it broke the spell. I'm 37 now. Okay, was a Bora Muslim. It's a Shia sect in India. Its head is a guy named Mufaddal Saifuddin. He is referred to as Mullah. He is a cult leader. The Bora Muslim regards him as everything. They have his photo in every room. The moment a child is able to understand anything, the first thing they made him do is to kind of make him kiss his photo and show him how to hold hands in front of his photo and alike. Do whatever Mawla says, no questions. My wife still is a believer. She don't know that I now know the truth. In Shia there is this place in Iraq, known as Kerbala in Iraq, where they believe that the grandson of their prophet Muhammad, whose name was Hussein, was killed. So it's a most important shrine of this. And in Bora Muslim the followers plan a 15 days pilgrimage trip to this place. So this was getting planned for a few years among my friends. And we're collecting money on monthly basis for it. I had to cause, if I now then that would be suspicious. I thought that this pilgrimage thing will not be anywhere in the near future. I was wrong. Last November they made plans that in late December we all will embark upon this pilgrimage thing. My wife being super religious, I can't convince her otherwise. She became hysterical when I told her that we can't go this time. I made excuses. But she didn't budge. I paid for the thing. It's a good chunk of money it costs. I was miserable the whole trip. Now coming to the main point, I was supposed to come back to India, and she was to go to Oman to see her parent with our kid. Now I'm sitting on this flight, and I get super scared. I got scared of not dying, but because I thought, if I die today I will never be able to tell my son how stupid this whole thing is. And he might never get lucky as I got. You may search Bora Muslim running after Mawla car. Or Bora Muslim doing shirk. It will show you how mad this religion is. A single family, and the head of that family named Mufaddal Saifuddin is literal god. And this Bora cult is big on extracting huge donation. So now only you waste your precious time, they make you visit mosque at least twice a week, and makes you sit through hours of sermons, and money. For example, my friend's family jointly pay more than $100,000 as donation to this guy every year. So I was in this flight, and I was scared as anything, as I can't imagine me dying, and my lovely smart kid, he is 11, going through all this drudgery, wasting hours upon hours, and even his hard-earned money, when he grows up. And I was like, please, let me live this time. In this pilgrimage in Iraq, the Shia followers come to this shrine and kiss the shrine, and do bowing, and read holy texts. It's very cold outside. And I was thinking that, even if a god exists, he must be doubly miffed as how people wants to get close to him. Because remember, then people there doing those rituals are doing that this person whose shrine it is can get their wish closer to Allah. My family will be returning soon. And I think sooner rather than later I have to have a conversation with my kid. I was thinking to tell him at least that, see, if anything happens to me, read and listen about guys like Christopher Hitchens and Richard Dawkins and Matt Dillahunty. You don't have to do that now. But just remember these names. I don't know what will happen, but I feel good knowing he has a chance of steering away from this madness which he might never think about, and just endure it in the name of religion. Thank for reading. Jellyfish Jamboree says, don't worry, you will make it to be able to tell him what you know. Take it slow though. Glad you made it out of the dark ages. Witch Queen says, I know that would be the scariest thing for me as a mother and a grandmother. Not being able to give my family the truth they need. I hope things work out better for you. Religions are so crazy. Harem Best Law says, I'm glad you got out. You are now free. It's very liberating. It's always nice to hear these stories. I hope all your family makes it out of the spell. Monitor of Chaos says, he's already 11, so has been exposed to the craziness for many years. If I were you, I would begin to slowly introduce questions tempered with logical to begin to guide him away from the martial conclusions he will have come to by witnessing this religious nonsense for so long. Good luck and happy journey. Punky Brewster 1 says, thank God you were brave enough to ask the real questions. Definitely tell your son he can choose for himself. Might even make your wife think twice. Bestrol8674 says, okay, was a Bora Muslim. It's a Shia sect in India. Its head is a guy named Mufaddal Saifuddin. He is referred to as Mullah. He is a cult leader. The Bora Muslim regards him as everything. They have his photo in every room. The moment a child is able to understand anything, the first thing they made him do is to kind of make him kiss his photo and show him how to hold hands in front of his photo and alike, do whatever Mullah says, no questions. This very interesting to me because my wife has family who are both 12ers and Ismaili. What you described about Boris is almost word for word what I would have written about Ismailis. The strange thing though is that Ismailis are very liberal and aren't considered Muslims by Sunnis. Anonymous Writer 0 says, good that you have broken free of the controllers. Moving to another area an option. I know in India there are some cities dominated by some kinds of people, but the larger cities are still by and large cosmopolitan. It may be difficult to cut ties completely, especially as you say your wife is still a believer. You have to tread carefully. All the best to you. Rumpler for a Skin says, good luck. Posthuman04 says, I have been absorbing all I can about disinformation, cults and how to deal with them. I recall reading about a teacher that went to North Korea for a few weeks as an exchange program. They had thought of showing these kids maybe just one or two the truth behind the veil. As the exposure progressed, it became evident that functioning in North Korea was very dangerous if you didn't follow the disinformation. The kids would turn each other in, practice this kind of policing. I say this to ensure you know what is right for your son. Not that the truth isn't important, but if you are leaving them there, in that environment, leave them with the tools to survive. If getting out is the goal, get them out, and then go over the deconstruction. That's all for this video. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.